How do you find the strength to get out of bed every morning when all hell is breaking loose? And wipe your own tears out of your face because you got nobody else to wipe them but you. That he will not allow the enemy to send anything into your life that is stronger than his power is upon your life to get you through this moment in your life.
If I have learned anything in my time traveling the world, it is the power of hope. The power of one person. One person can change the world by giving people hope.
As thy days are, so shall thy strength be. As thy days are, so shall thy strength be. The tougher the day, the greater the strength. In other words, I measured the day before I released the strength, and I am sure that I gave you enough strength to get through whatever this. Because he trusted you with trouble. Because you passed enough tests that he knew you could handle it now. Because he's going to show up in your life in a way that he's never showed up before. And yes, you may have more trouble, but you're going to have more glory, more anointing, more blessing, more wisdom. More of this means more of that. So when you see all hell breaking loose, understand that the angels are coming from every direction. You have to trust God when he says no.
You're making this way harder than it's got to be. If you're trying to make it in this world without God in your life, you're making it way harder than it's got to be. I flunked out of school. I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I lost everything I ever owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. You can't tell me nothing about what he can't do for you. I've been bottomed out. I'm talking about flat bottomed out. Nothing.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe if I lose this job, there is another job for me. You have to trust God when you didn't get the job. You have to trust God when your child didn't come home. You have to trust God when he says no.
At the end of the day, life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over.
Tears and struggles and pain, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances.
It's easy to get bitter, hold a grudge, lose your passion, kiss the person that left you goodbye, kiss the dream that didn't work out goodbye. God wouldn't have allowed it to happen if he didn't have something better up in front of you.
So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
Life is hard. For every time you have a plan, a dream, an aspiration, or a goal, do you know what happens every time you have one of those? This thing comes along called life.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision.
The definition of lunacy is to keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So why are you doing what doesn't work?
It's never too late to begin again. No matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, it is never too late to press into a new beginning.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
The enemies that you see today, you will see them no more. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. I'm tired of doing what I used to do. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Letting go of what lies behind. We've all got a past. Thank God we've all got a future. Don't you believe that lie that it's too late for you. Refuse to be trapped in the past.
You can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted. You weren't given away less, you were chosen with love. Same circumstances, same event, but reinterpreted. An interpretation that empowers me. Am I making sense to you?
You can start heading in the right direction by having a brand new attitude toward life. You're hurting yourself if you're living an isolated, lonely life and living in fear of ever being involved with anybody. But you know, you really only have two choices. You can live your life disappointed, or you can have a new beginning. That's our only option.
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end. The key is how we handle the closed doors, how you handle the people that treated you wrong. Sometimes, instead of kissing them goodbye, we smack them goodbye.
And so one of the rules is, if people are impeding your development, you sacrifice your relationship with them. It's a very, very rough rule.
If giving him a piece of your mind hadn't worked in the first 15 years, wouldn't it be a good time now to change strategies? Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness?
It takes guts to take that first step and say, here we go. I'm accepting the possibility that I might fail. I've failed at so many things in my life. That's just the way it goes. But you know what? At least I can look back and say, at least I tried.
Life has disappointment. It's got peaks and valleys. You're going to lose somebody you care about one day. That's a valley. Somebody going to fire you for an unjust cause. That's a valley.
But right now, you're being tried. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test.
Separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. A lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life.
Fight on. Fight through the storm. Fight through the pain and come out the other side stronger and better. A survivor, a winner, victorious, free from that storm.
An enterprising person is one who sees opportunity in all areas of life. To consistently take advantage of the opportunity that you've created, to be aware, to face life with your eyes and ears open to the possibilities that may be just around the corner.
What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points?
Creativity to look at the world a little differently. Creativity to be different. And what goes hand in hand with the creativity of self-enterprise, the courage to be creative, the courage to see things differently, and the courage to go against the crowd, the courage to stand alone if you have to, understanding your self-worth, how valuable you are.
Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Find some trusted critics on where we are falling short. Tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects.
What could you do if you had all the skills, took the classes, read the books, What could you do? What true value could you develop? Once you start understanding how valuable you are, it's a whole new experience. If we don't feel good about ourselves, we won't feel good about our lives. And if we don't feel good about our lives, we won't be very interested in looking for opportunities.
Let's say you're miserable and unhappy. Here's a cure. Find what's valuable and let it go. So we could say, well, maybe it's a relationship that you have. Maybe it's a relationship with your parents. And the relationship is pathological, but you're locked into it. You value it. And no wonder, because it's a relationship with your parents. And you're suffering terribly because of it. Well, what do? Maybe you let it go. It's a sacrifice. And the idea is that, well, that'll clear the future for you.
Success isn't in the having. Success is in the doing. It's the process of doing that brings value. It's the activity that transforms our dreams into reality, that converts ideas into actuality.
That the tougher the day is, the greater the grace. The more tenacious the dilemma, the more equipped the believer. Y'all don't hear what I'm saying.
Come on, man. I lived in a car for 3 years. I had nothing, but I made a decision, man. I just started talking to God every day. I just started asking him for help, to hear me. If you call God and you ask him to hear you, he hears you.
That most people get caught up in the distractions of life. Look around and praise God, because whatever you've done is only the tip of the iceberg possible for you. Yes. Look back, thank God. Look around and praise God for all the possibilities, all the things that's looking at you, waiting for you to take advantage of. Expand your vision for what's possible for you. To decide that your circumstances are not going to define you. Make a decision. This is a pivot point. This is a deciding moment that you've had it living life as you've been living, and you want more because you deserve it. You deserve it.
You can get self-help at the bookstore, but sometimes self can't help self. You can get motivation from the motivationalist, but sometimes you cannot motivate when you need a miracle. You can get socialization in the club, the sorority, the lodge. We do socialize, but it's more than that. We do motivate, but it's more than that. We do encourage, but it's more than that. What we give here that is unique to us is food for the soul, is fight for the fighter, is bread for the eater. And for them that have no might, if you can just get to the word of God, you can tie a knot and hold on. Because people see the outer display of your gift, but they do not see the inner pains that go along with being who you are. And it is not just me alone. There are people out there right now who look at your life and they just fantasize, saying, I wish I had what she had. I wish I had what he had. I wish I had that opportunity. Just look at the person next to you. Don't they look good?
I can change, you can change, the other people in our life can change, our finances can change. There's nothing that cannot change. Don't look at any situation and think this is hopeless, this will never change.
Believe that it will happen. But there's nothing more powerful than your faith. When you believe, when you expect things to change. I know healing is on the way. I know the right person is in my future. I know what God started, he's going to finish.
And yet we have such a tendency to lean toward what's wrong and finding the fault. But we can change that attitude.
We all have a reason to be sour. Don't let that talk you out of what God has in store. You wouldn't be alive if there wasn't something amazing in your future. Can your faith be seen? Can anyone notice that you're expecting to go to a new level? Are you talking like it's going to happen? Thinking like it's going to happen? Believing like it's going to happen? God is passing by. But if you're negative, I don't see how it'll work out.
Changing our mind, changing our attitude so we can have the best life. Things can change. Everybody shout out real loud. Anything can change.
What do you want? What do you see for yourself? Look ahead. Listen to God. Look ahead. What do you see for you? Look beyond your circumstances Expand your vision. Become clear about what it is that you want. What is it that you want for your family? What is it you want for your health? Look around. Does it feed you? Does it fuel you? Does it motivate you? Does it inspire you? Or does it drain you? Does it deplete you? Is it compromising your power, your circumstances? Very important.
When things go wrong, they always seem to happen at once, and they just compound on top of each other. It's pretty easy sometimes to feel beaten when you're faced with all those issues and all those problems, and they all hit you at the same time. Let me tell you, that doesn't mean give up. It means it's time for you to fight harder, to dig in. It means it's time for you to go on the war path.
Look ahead. What is it that God is calling you to do? What's in your heart? What's in your heart? Because where your heart is, there your treasure is also. What's in your heart? There's a calling. You were created on purpose, with a purpose, for a purpose. You're still here regardless of what you've gone through. You're still here regardless of what you've done and all the things that you've done that you shouldn't have done. You are still here for a purpose, for God's purpose.
What's the biggest problem? Explain where you are at. Be blunt, be upfront, and then give them the simple plan of how you're gonna get things back on track. You give it to them straight, right? You're falling behind at work, talk to your boss. Face it. Tell him you're gonna get after it. And tell him that you're 100% committed. It won't be easy. It will be hard because life is hard. That's what life is.
It's time to reflect and meditate, journal, and pray to God. Look back and thank God.
These challenges that you face, they're going to do their best to take you down. Let those challenges raise you up. Let them elevate you. Let their demands and their trials make you stronger. Let the adversity you face today turn you into a better person tomorrow. So in the future, you look back at these struggles and you say to them, thank you.
If people are impeding your development, you sacrifice your relationship with them. It's a very, very rough rule.
If giving him a piece of your mind hadn't worked in the first 15 years, wouldn't it be a good time now to change strategies?
I don't want to be enabled in my brokenness. I'm looking for some friends who will empower me. Empower me to think bigger. Empower me to get a new vision. Empower me to get back up. I am not a victim, I'm a victor. And my present situation does not define my potential destination. Life doesn't happen to me, life happens for me. I'm gonna keep on moving forward so you can save your sympathy. I don't need your sympathy. What I need is your strength. What I need is you to sharpen me. I'm not a victim, I'm more than a conqueror.
What we should do when somebody does us wrong, forgive them and let it drop. Leave it and let it go.
Why are we loyal to ineffectiveness? When people can walk away from you, let them walk. When people can walk away from you, let them walk.
So impose on yourself this self-development of being in charge, taking charge of your life and your health and your future and your responsibilities and all the rest. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family. That's not a requirement of society, but you must make it a requirement of yourself. Reasonable time is enough time to achieve all of your goals. Just jot that down. Reasonable time is enough time. Here's why. It's not the hours you put in, it's what you put in the hours. The ideas you can't think of now, a year from now, they'll start to flow. And when you deposit those ideas in the hours you've got, productivity multiplies by 2, 3, 5, 10.
I don't want you to try to talk another person into staying with you, loving you, calling you, caring about you, coming to see you, staying attached to you. I mean, hang up the phone. When people can walk away from you, let them walk. Tears and struggles and pain, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances.
The ability to learn to say no and not to feel guilty about it, to me, is about the greatest success I have achieved. It's all a part of a process for growing for me. To me, to have the kind of internal strength and internal courage it takes to say, no, I will not let you treat me this way, is what success is all about. I will not be treated this way. I demand only the best for myself.
Maybe somebody's talking about you, trying to make you look bad. You could easily be upset, offended, try to pay them back. Why don't you try a different approach? Drop it, leave it, and let it go. It's easy to get bitter, hold a grudge, lose your passion. Kiss the person that left you goodbye. Kiss the dream that didn't work out goodbye. God wouldn't have allowed it to happen if he didn't have something better up in front of you.
So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life.
You literally are your surroundings. If you have a problem with your life, you should have a problem with the people in your life. You're going left, and they're going right. You're going right, and then they go left.
Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision.
The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. Oh, get ready. Favor is about to turn things around. Favor is not going to keep you from the storm, but favor will bring you out of the storm.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy. Because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life.
Discouragement is born when we compare ourselves with somebody else. Just think about where I came from. Just think about what God started me out as and where I am today. And it's encouraging to not compare yourself with others, but to remember how far you've come and where you started.
It's never too late to begin again. No matter what has happened to you in your life, no matter what you've done or what's been done to you, it is never too late to press into a new beginning.
In life, you will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed.
The enemies that you see today, you will see them no more. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. I'm tired of doing what I used to do. If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me.
Letting go of what lies behind. We've all got a past. Thank God we've all got a future. Don't you believe that lie that it's too late for you. Refuse to be trapped in the past.
You can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it.
Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
I fought a good fight. I fought for my kids, and I fought for what was right, and I fought for my good health, and I fought for a good career that would bless my family. I fought a good fight. The encroachment. Opposites are in conflict, and we're in the middle. And if you want something valuable, you got to fight for it.
You can start heading in the right direction by having a brand new attitude toward life. You're hurting yourself if you're living an isolated, lonely life and living in fear of ever being involved with anybody. But you know, you really only have two choices. You can live your life disappointed, or you can have a new beginning. That's the only option.
So when you begin to look at your past, give an interpretation that empowers you. That's where I used to be. That's not where I am now. I'm growing.
There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end.
Not only have I fought a good fight, I fought a good fight, and I kept the faith. See, that's the deal. Keep faith with your family. Fight like crazy and keep faith. Fight the enemy and keep faith.
You have comeback power when something happens to you. Don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This does not work for me, and I don't have the luxury of being depressed. I need to clear my head.
But right now, you're being tried. You're being tested by fire and by pain. That's the test. Don't fail the test.
So why not just go for it? After all, it hasn't hurt you so far. Of course, the reality isn't quite that simple, but it's not as simple either as thinking that just because you're older, things are now going in the opposite direction, and that while you used to want to do everything, you should now want to do nothing. No, reality is by no means that simple either. There's a saying that I heard in church. That saying was, you have to lose your life in order to find it.
There are some dreams shut up in you. Like fire, you're going to feel your destiny calling out. May not have happened the first time. The loan didn't go through. You didn't get chosen for the part. The medical report wasn't good. That's okay. It's still in you. This is your time. This is your moment. Shake off the doubt. Shake off the negativity. You're at the right place. You're at the right time. Now all you've got to do is get in the right frame of mind. Lord, I believe this is my year to get healthy and whole. This is my year to meet the people of my dreams. This is my year to go further in my career, to step into a new level of my destiny. This is my year to accomplish dreams, to break free from this depression. This is my year to meet the right people. This is my year to get healthy and whole. This is your year to see double. This is your year for vindication, for restoration, for new beginnings. Now get your mind going in the right direction.
This will be a transformative year. New year, new me. Transformative thinking. God is about to transform your thinking, your mindset, your approach to life. The Lord said that there's more inside of you than what you have perceived. There are gifts in you that you have not tapped into yet. This is your year of transformation, rethinking, removing, retooling, new friends, new environment. I'm tired of doing what I used to do.
If I always do what I've always done, I'll always be where I've always been. I'm going to throw it behind me. Truth of the matter is, everybody in here is going through a change. We are all in the process of transforming to a higher, better expression of myself. Don't let the habits of my past stop me from this metamorphosis. Things that used to worry me, not gonna do me like that. Things that used to get on my nerves, people I had to respond to in anger, not gonna do me like that. I'm focusing on what's in front of me. What separates us is transformation, the desire to evolve, the passion to get up off the ground and stop eating dirt. Your perception has everything to do with how this year is going to work. It is not what you perceive about me. It's what I perceive about me. It is because of the uniqueness of the challenges that confront you are so unique to you that you feel like I'm up against it all by myself. There are moments in our lives that we feel completely alone. We feel as though no one knows what we're going through.
If you don't know exactly what you want, or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? Why you're doing it.
Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing. Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there.
We go through the actions of commitment, but we're not really committed. We're not really connected. We're not really joined because we have no understanding of our responsibility to any relationship. Wonder what would have happened in school if you'd been committed. Wonder what would have happened in your marriage if you'd have really thrown your whole self. You've always been casual.
See, a lot of people won't try anything different in life because they don't want to get hurt. Pain is everywhere. But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of being criticized, the pain. That's called life. But guess what? There's no gain without pain.
Even if you were 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, doesn't matter. You're in the game now, and that's what counts. And all those quote unquote wasted years, they weren't wasted because you learned.
If you know what it is to be at the end of your rope and feel like your life is over and you've got questions that cannot be answered, you need to learn this verse. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. I've seen days that were so dark for me that I thought there could not possibly be a silver lining in the clouds. I've seen days and weeks and months that drug me so low that I gave up all hope of getting up again. But in the midst of all of that despair, there was in the basement of my soul, they that sow in tears shall reap in joy.
So you got to get yourself past that. The way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. To ask intelligent, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans that if the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work.
What do you do when something is missing out of your life and the things that replaced it do not compensate for what you lost? What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit? Because trying again means hurting again, means risking again, means believing again, means hoping again.
You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, then you haven't failed. If you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated, and you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. So get up and go get after it.
You just don't know what the next moment will bring. You have comeback power when something happens to you. Don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This is no time to do something stupid, like hurt yourself. No, 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 no.
Don't lose your dream. That's long-range goals. Because if you set up something short-range, go for it. Get it. Latch onto it. Work hard. Accomplish it. That starts building your strong feelings to go for your dreams.
People who don't stop to clear their heads, they react. They don't respond. You're going to get through this. And you don't want to be radical. You don't want to be erratic. You got to assure yourself. You have to encourage yourself.
We all live in this bubble. What you got to do to get the life that God wants you to have, you got to put more air in your bubble. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful. As long as God wakes you up, that means he ain't through with you yet. You got a shot to correct it and get it right. And he kept waking me up. So I figured, okay, God wakes you up. That also means that he has something for you that you've yet to receive.
You have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. The ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere, when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit. So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. So you got to love it, you got to have passion.
If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really wonderful ordinary people. But here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities. All of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night.
Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation. And so the more valuable the goal, the more the micro processes associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge. Well, you get up in the morning and you're excited about the day. You're ready to go. What you do is you specify your long-term ideal. You want to specify goals that make you say, if that could happen as a consequence of my efforts, it would clearly be worthwhile. The question always is, why do something?
It's easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy comes home at night all exhausted, falls in the chair and says, oh, I've been going. Here's the big question. Doing what? It's not the going. Some people are going, and they're doing figure eights. So don't mistake movement for achievement.
The next question might be, well, where should you look for worthwhile things? You need a family, you need friends. Like, you don't need to have all these things, but you better have most of them. Family, friends, career, educational goals, etc. That's what life is about. And if you don't have any of those things, then all you've got left is misery and suffering. So that's a bad deal for you.
If you can't be good company to yourself, you can't be good company with anybody else. I heard a song called I'm Lonely Whenever You Are Around. Have you ever had that kind of experience? Yes, you have. You could be lonely in the middle of a crowd, alone in your thoughts, people surrounding you, and you're lonely because you have a different kind of mindset. The energy is different, and your mind is in another place. There are people that are lonely who are living together. Unfortunately, there are people who are not handling it well.
don't just focus on how dramatic the change is. Focus on the area that's beneficial to you. Focus on what is it that you have going for you to negotiate the change. And so in this time where we are, that everybody would recognize that dramatic change has taken place. And many people are stressed out. Many people are frightened. Many people are confused and don't have a clue on what to do and feel overwhelmed. And so say to yourself, I am free to create a new life for myself. I'm aware of the fact that I have the ability to make my life recession-proof. Right now, I am my boss.
Who it is that you're trying to be, you aim at that, and then you use everything you learn as a means of building that person that you want to be. And that's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. I would recommend that you don't let that happen. Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living. Anxiety provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. The goal is to have a vision for your life. Then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month?